How's it going, everyone? Happy Thursday. Nick Marro here with DFS Jayhawk and Occupy Fantasy. As always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slates on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We've had a couple weeks because of the NBA Cup of these really short slates. We've had a couple two gamers, a one gamer, a couple four gamers, which felt like bigger slates. That's all over tonight. We are back. We got a 12 gamer over on FanDuel, 11 gamer over on DK. We're going to have to go rapid fire today, guys. But we will go team by team. Jayhawk, what are your first thoughts and takes as we dive into this massive slate this evening?
Yeah, looks like a really fun one. Obviously, we just got the New York news, so we'll cover that. But huge slate tonight. Really excited to break this one down.
Yeah, and guys, you know I love to touch on every single comment when I can. We'll get a few quick shout outs here. Cards, Luke, Heath, a few OGs, guys are always in here. Appreciate you being here as always. But yeah, if you got questions, I'll try to get to them. But again, we're gonna have to go rapid fire today, so try to make sure you get those questions in when we're talking about each game. And if I miss them and we have time at the end, I'll definitely get to more. But we got to rip through it. We don't want to miss out on anything here. First game on the slate, we have the Atlanta Hawks in Charlotte taking on the Hornets. 241.5 point total. Hawks are favored here. First big piece of news of the day. Trae Young is returning for the first time this season. We have him for 28 minutes. It seems like he's going to be healthy. There's enough guards on this slate that I don't think we need to play him here first game back. I will say it's probably going to cut into the upside of Jalen Johnson, a guy who's been absolutely outstanding this year. No Porzingis here tonight. Other than that, really no significant injury news. But yeah, with Trey coming back, I think they're a little bit overpriced. I don't mind mixing in Johnson or Okongwu, who's been really good with Porzingis out in tournaments. But again, with Trey coming back, I think this team is kind of overpriced as a whole. Even Alexander Walker, who's about 14% owned on FanDuel, seems a little bit over owned to me at 6,100. Again, we got Trey back. He's going to take up some usage from these guys. It's not his first game of the season. I don't know why I said that. He was playing and then he was, I don't know. Regardless, it's going to cut into these guys. The prices haven't adjusted. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Hawks?
Yeah, man, you nailed it. With Trae Young coming back here, Jalen Johnson's usage rate should drop pretty heavily here. So I think it'd probably just be maybe taking stabs at Jalen in tournaments, but I don't like the price point. So it's mainly just a team I'm avoiding tonight.
Yep. Again, it is a good game environment. There's an upside if you're playing 150 lineups. You don't have to avoid it, but nothing we're prioritizing. Similar situation over on the Hornets side of things. LaMelo Ball is listed as probable. Coach just came out and said that he would probably be limited, though. So we have him for 25 minutes right now. I think that's a pretty fair projection. No Trey Mann, no Colin Sexton or Grant Williams. Nothing else here too significant to talk through. Brandon Miller, I mean, the price is up. He's been okay. Miles Bridges obviously has some upside. I mean, Colin Canoopel, you know I love the kid. But paying over 7K for him with his team healthy does not feel great on a 12 game slate. If this was another two gamer, maybe we'd be talking about it. But kind of similar to the Hawks, man, just a team about price where they should be, even though it's a game environment that I do think is exploitable for DFS. There's really no core plays or any standouts here for me. How about you?
Yeah, I agreed. I think Colin Canoopel and Miller both fine to take sprinkles at, but none of these guys are like huge for me. It'd probably just be those two. So another pretty easy thing to break down.
Yep, we'll keep it going. We got another game here in the 7 o'clock window, Eastern Standard Time. New York Knicks coming off their NBA Cup win, taking on the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. Maybe a little bit of hangover going on. They're benching a few of their key pieces here tonight. I'm just going to pull them up in the model first. But Josh Hart, Miles McBride, Mitchell Robinson, Landry Shamet, and Carl Anthony Towns are all going to be out. They did have OG on the injury report. He is going to be available. Starting lineup, I think there's a few different ways they can go, but what we do know for sure is this should boost the upside of one Jalen Brunson. Definitely going to see increased usage for him. OG Anunoby on DK at 6,200 looks really good to me. A bit pricey on FanDuel, but you're getting extra points for the stocks. I rate him above Mikal Bridges. I think they're similar plays though. The model actually prefers Bridges at his price, 1 point higher in OF index, but those two look really solid to me. We have all three of these guys over 35 minutes, so I think any of those three, feel free to play them early and often. Right now, the ownership isn't really high. I do expect it to come up, especially in a good matchup here against the Pacers. But the rest of this team is tricky. Jordan Clarkson getting the most love here. He shot pretty well in that last game against the Spurs off the bench. 23 fantasy points in 26 minutes. Clarkson's as scoring dependent as almost anyone in the league. He really needs a shot to fall. I don't mind mixing him in, but if he's going to be chalky, I'm pretty comfortable coming in under that number. I think a lot of people expect him to start. Tyler Kolek is a true point guard. I think there is a world where he starts alongside Brunson, though, so that's certainly something to keep an eye on. He had nearly 30 fantasy points in just 20 minutes. So whoever gets the start there, I prefer. But I think either way, I'd rather just go to the lower owned option. It seems like Kolek is going to be that guy. The one issue is we haven't really seen Kolek play extended minutes this year. I think the most he's played was 22 back in October against Washington. So if you are getting to him, proceed with some caution there. Porty probably going to get the start at the five. We have other value on this slate. Jackson Hayes, one of those centers. Obviously, a massive slate like this, there's a lot of centers we can consider. The model does rate him as the best value play here on DK after Clarkson, actually. On FanDuel, looks okay. I will say there is a wide range of outcomes here for him, though, especially in a matchup against the Pacers, who they have Jay Huff. I mean, they have Jackson, but they could run power forwards at the five. They don't necessarily need to play big. So I don't mind Hawk Porty. I like him in tournaments, but keep it on the ownership. If it becomes extremely popular, maybe step away. Yabu Seli has not been in the rotation. Like he only gets blowout run, or he just comes in to kind of close out games. But he's that aren't competitive, obviously. But he is someone who should see increased minutes here. We have him for 21 minutes. I don't think he's played 20 minutes yet this year, but in games like this last year, albeit with a different team, we did see some upside out of him. So you could maybe go to him a little bit in tournaments. But again, the core play for me here is Brunson, followed by OG on DK. I do think Bridges is appealing as well. Just a wider range of outcomes for him. Obviously, OG kind of stuffs the stat sheet, whereas Bridges is a little bit more scoring dependent. But keep an eye on the starting lineup. The two guard spot, whether it's Kolek or Clarkson, is going to be interesting. Yeah, a lot to talk about here, man. But how do you feel about the Knicks?
Yeah, man. I think the Knicks look great here as a team with no Cat and Harts. Obviously, Brunson, my preferred play up top. So I think he looks great both sides. One of my favorite top tier plays. And then Jordan Clarkson, I think solves well. I do like that Kolek pivot though. Whoever starts there should be safer for good minutes. And then you covered it pretty well. I think Yabusele and Hog Porty are both fine to take stabs at. I would lean Hawk Porty because I think he's going to play safer minutes. But Yabusele is like 3K, so even if he plays like 15 minutes, he could still get there. But yeah, I think it's a really good team to target. And then I'm with you. I do prefer OG and Obi to Bridges as well.
Yeah, he's cheaper and he's been better. He had a huge game in that cup game against the Spurs. So definitely like OG. And yeah, good spot here for the Knicks in general. Just keep an eye on that starting lineup. We will talk about it if we do get it soon. Again, I expect it to be Clarkson in Huck Porty. I could also see Kolek, though. I'm pretty confident Huck Porty starts at the five. If Yabu gets the start, he's going to look great. But we'll keep an eye on that. Over on the Pacers side of things, still no Tyrese Halliburton. Cam Jones is doubtful. Aaron Naismith is out. Talon Peter is doubtful. Ben Shepard and Obi Toppin are both out. No one is owned on this team. That's really the only reason to consider playing them here. With Hart and Cat out, and Robinson, mind you, it is a little bit better of a matchup for these guys. I think this game should be competitive. But yeah, I mean, Mathurin, Nemhard, Siakam are all fine. You can kind of mix them in. I don't mind getting to a little bit of J Huff. This matchup did just get a lot better for him. He's been hitting value pretty consistently. I think 4 games in a row where he's hitting value. So don't mind mixing him in. But again, it's such a massive slate. I don't know that it's necessary, especially on FanDuel where he's center only. So, well, I do like some of the starters here. The bench rotations have been all over the place. It's like McConnell will get run one night, then he won't play at all the next. So I don't really want to play these games on a 12-game slate. I'd rather play guys that we know are going to get consistent minutes. So, well, I don't mind Siakam, Nemhard, Mather, and Huff. That's probably it for me from Indiana. If anything, not really a team I'm targeting heavily. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, not much I like here from Indiana. I think, like you mentioned, I think Siakam and Nimhard both fine to mix in like a game stack in this game. The only like guy I was really even getting exposure to was Isaiah Jackson. He's just super cheap. You can mix him in at center, but other than that, I didn't have anything I really liked here at all.
Yeah, Jackson 8 against the Wizards. I do think the minutes for Huff are safer, but again, that's under the assumption that Huff starts. But Either way, I think they're fine. Moving into the 7:30 window here, we got the Miami Heat taking on my Brooklyn Nets. Again, very big slate. Won't spend too much time on the Nets like I like to. But starting with Miami, no Tyler Hero. That's obviously very significant. Jovic avoided a major injury, but he's going to be out tonight. Pele Larson's out. Norm Powell is available. Obviously, no Terry Rozier. Drew Smith is back. He's going to be available. Norm Powell is who stands out. Obviously, a good matchup here against the Nets, who don't play very good defense, especially when it comes to guards or wings. I think Powell looks good. You can get to Wiggins. I think he's under owned where he's priced. Those two stand out the most to me. Bam at his price is fine. I do prefer him on FanDuel because we have that power forward eligibility. Obviously, a lot of good value at center tonight. Davion Mitchell, obviously with Hero out, is going to see a nice boost in his upside here as well. So I think you can make a case for any of the starters. I do assume we see Simone Fontecchio starting at the three. Again, no Pele Larson or Hero should give him those minutes, but kind of similar to a Clarkson, he's very scoring dependent. So I do like mixing him in, but he needs that shot to fall. This is a great matchup for it, though. I do think he's going to get a lot of open looks. Kind of the wild card here, if you want to call it that, is Jaime Jaquez. The minutes have been back up for him, not quite as consistent as he was last season, but in large field contests, I don't mind mixing him in. Kalo Ware, another guy, good fantasy point per minute producer, but I don't know that he's going to see a huge boost in minutes here. Not a guy who consistently gets over 20, so proceed with some caution there. But again, I think Powell, if anyone, would be the core play for me. I do like Wiggins and Bam a lot. You can mix in Mitchell. And Fontecchio as a starter is going to be appealing. I do think he could play even more than the 25 minutes we have him projected for, but just keep in mind he needs that shot to fall. If it's not, he's going to have a very low floor. But Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Heat here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, so the Heat coming in very underowned on the slate. Pretty high a team total for them. I like them a lot in tournaments. I think Norm Powell's a solid play at his price, and then I also don't hate mixing in Davion. They're really going to need to bring the ball up the court and without Tyler Hero. So like those two, and then yeah, I think it's fine to take a stab on a Cleo Ware. I would rather get to the value centers we have today, though.
Nice. Yep, right there with you, man. Over on the net side of things, injury report, no Haywood Highsmith. He hasn't even played yet this year. Thomas is still out. No Saraf or Traore. They're down with the G League. So yeah, they're pretty much as healthy as they have been lately. I will say Michael Porter Jr. at his price looks pretty appealing. We have a lot of good pay ups on this slate. He kind of got cool last week, had a couple bad games, but I do think we see him bounce back here. I'm fine getting to him in tournaments. He was over 9K. That price came back down. I do think he's pretty appealing. Not a great matchup here for Claxton, honestly, but at his price, he does have some upside. I don't mind getting to a little bit of Clowney. Igor Dioman, I mean, his minutes have been inconsistent. Coach is kind of on him right now. He said if he doesn't start playing better defense, he's going to lose minutes, so maybe don't go there. If anything, here it's Porter. I will say Danny Wolf is always fun as like a last piece in. He could play the whole fourth quarter if this game were to blow out, and even when it's competitive now, he's a regular part of the rotation. So Danny Wolf, I don't mind, but on a 12-game slate, it's probably unnecessary. Probably MPJ or bust for me here tonight, hosting the Heat. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Nets in this spot?
Yeah, I think MPJ looks great. Pretty high game total here, and MPJ's price has came down, like you mentioned. So like him in tournaments, and then the guy I'm getting the most here is actually Nick Claxton. Pretty good price, and I think he plays really good off MPJ here. So like Claxton, like MPJ, and then I was initially getting Wolf when I just started building last night, but with all the value now, I think it's kind of difficult to get to Wolf heavily. So I think he's fine at his ownership, but not a guy I love targeting tonight.
Yeah, he always has upside, pretty low floor, but good point per minute producer when he's out there. It's just when he's only going to play 20 minutes or so. The range of outcomes is certainly wide. But you mentioned Claxton. I don't mind it. But again, so much value at center on this slate. He's a little bit tough to get to. But moving into the 8 o'clock window now, we have the Houston Rockets taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. There's a bunch of games here at 8 o'clock. This being the first we'll talk about. The Rockets are favored on the road here against the Pels, 235.5 point total. Tari Easton's questionable. He did return, I believe, last game. No Fred Van Fleet or Dorian Finney-Smith. Houston, I mean, we could talk about them pretty quick. I think you could get to Sengun, Durant, Thompson. They all have upside. It's tough to really call any a priority. The price on Sengun on FanDuel now is kind of crazy at 10-1. I don't know that I could get to him, but all three of those guys have upside for their price. If Eason is out again, I don't mind mixing in Jabari Smith, but really tough to call anything a true priority here. But again, I think Durant is probably my favorite play at his price. This is a great matchup, but everyone about priced where they should be. This team is mostly healthy. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Rockets?
Yeah, great breakdown for them. I think they're all just fine in tournaments. It's a great matchup here overall, but they're all just kind of priced where they should be. I'm kind of with you. I think Katie's solid. Sengun's in a very good matchup as well. So I'd probably say Sengun or Katie would be preferred, but these guys are all tough to get to with all the other great spends we have tonight.
Yeah, I will say this about Sengun. I mean, he's been playing amazing. This is a good matchup. It's just we'll talk about Luke in a little bit. That's kind of my priority pay up tonight. So I'm getting less of him mostly because of that. Although they are at different positions, Sengun does have power forward eligibility on both sites, which does make him pretty useful. But again, just kind of pricey. It is a good matchup though. Speaking of this matchup, we get the Pelicans on the other side. No DeJounte Murray. Other than that, nothing really significant. They got Zion available tonight. Jordan Poole is back and coming off the bench. So this is another team who's about priced where they should be. Obviously, Derek Queen has shown massive upside. Most of those games have come with Zion out, though. So I don't really want to pay 7K plus for him. Zion himself is kind of interesting. We have him for just 27 minutes, though. He could get there. It just really hasn't been doing it this season. So I'm pretty much off of the Pelicans. Not only are they priced where they should be as a healthy team, they're in a terrible matchup here against Houston. So probably the team I'm least eager to get to tonight. How do you feel about New Orleans?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's tough to kind of like pin down a play, even like here. Even like Sadiq Bey, I just don't love the price. So tough spot. I'm really pretty much just crossing out this team, and I hate saying that, but it's a huge slate. So
Yeah, again, Bay was starting for a while. With Poole back, he's going to lose usage with that second unit. Murphy, Zion both being healthy definitely cuts into what he can do. Another game here at 8 o'clock, we have the Clippers taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Clippers are heavy underdogs here on the road, 221.5 point total, one of the lower totals on the slate. I think that is notable. No Bradley Beal, obviously. James Harden is still out. That's obviously going to be significant for them here as well. No Derrick Jones Jr. either. Cover boy today is Kawhi Leonard. With Harden out, this is a good spot for him. Definitely has a ceiling in his price, but might be tough to keep this game close, especially with an inspired OKC team who seems kind of pissed off they didn't win the cup or even make the final. I don't love the spot necessarily. I do think, if anything, I would get to some Kawhi. Chris Dunn probably sees an increase in his usage. I think there's better value on this slate. Don't like the matchup very much for Zubac. And if you want to play Bogdan, I get it. Again, very scoring dependent, though, very similar to a Pele Larson or a Jordan Clarkson. He is lower owned, though, so you can kind of throw him in that group, maybe mix him into your exposures as a pivot. If those guys fail and he gets there, might make a difference. But a little bit of Kawhi for me, not much else. Just don't love the matchup with OKC, even with a bunch of guys out. Jayhawk, how do you feel about LA here in OKC?
yeah, man, you would think this would be like a better spot to target with no James Harden here, but just a tough spot. I mean, even Kawhi, like good price, but just a very tough spot. So I think you can get to Kawhi. I'm with you. I think Bogdan would probably be my favorite. They probably need his scoring off the bench here. So Bogdan, I think, is fine. But after that, this is a very tough team to target against OKC.
Yeah, I will say Jordan Miller is very cheap off the bench. He could play in a blowout or if the game's close. I think Bogdan might start here, so keep an eye on that. But again, just put him in that same category as Clarkson and Larson. Like they're good plays at their price. They're going to play minutes, but they're scoring dependent. On the OKC side of things, Hartenstein's still out. Topic, Jalen Williams with an eye is going to be out here. I don't really have much interest in anything. 12-game slate. I'm not going to get cute and try to play Brandon Carlson like I have been on some of these slates. I don't even think he's with the team right now. I think he's back down with the G League. But yeah, good matchup. But I don't know. Can SGA or Jalen Williams or Chet get there in 3 quarters? Sure. On a 12-game slate, is that something we really need to be chasing? Probably not. Isaiah Joe is back. He is a guy who does tend to play in blowouts. He's very cheap. But again, I think on such a big slate, kind of unnecessary for us to be getting to much thunder here. How do you feel about OKC?
Yeah, man. 120 team total here for OKC, so it's not like a bad team total, but it's just tough to play anyone here, right? They're all like correctly priced. If you want to mix in some SGA up top and get under on Luca, I think it's fine. But yeah, to be honest with you, man, I don't see anywhere this game doesn't at least get partially out of hands come the third quarter.
Yeah, the Clippers, even when healthy, have been pretty bad this year. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Another game here in the 8 o'clock window. Another pretty low total, just 219.5 points between the Toronto Raptors and the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. Raptors are favored on the road. Starting on the Toronto side of things, no RJ Barrett, AJ Lawson, Jonathan Mogbo, and Jakob Podol is questionable. If Podol sits, maybe we see Sandra get the start at the five. They've been playing him more than Colin Murray Boyles lately. Definitely something to keep an eye on. They could also maybe play Barnes at the five. They've definitely mixed things up a little bit there, but something to keep an eye on. I don't have much interest in this team as it stands, but again, if we get word that Podol's out, something could open up in that front court. Obviously, you could mix in guys like Barnes, Ingram quickly. But again, low total, kind of price where they should be. Nothing really standing out to me. I know our boy Jamal Shed is affordable here. The prices kind of come up though, and on a 12 gamer again, I just don't know that we need to be talking about these guys off the bench. So not much love for me from Toronto unless Podol's out. In which case, I would like Sandro if he's starting. But other than that, not much love for Toronto for me. How about you?
Yeah, I love that shout, Nick, on Mamu. I think he would become a pretty solid value play here if Pirtle missed. And then in terms of the three studs here, Scotty, Quickly, and Ingram, they're all fine to mix in. I think I would lean like Quickly and Ingram in the spot, but yeah, none of these guys are priorities for me on this slate.
Yep. And again, our boy Jamal Shed, we've recommended him a few times. He's coming off some great games. If you're desperate for value, don't mind mixing him in off the bench, but probably unnecessary on a slate like this. On the Milwaukee side of things, Giannis and his brother Alex are both out tonight. Cole Anthony, AJ Green, Kyle Kuzma, all questionable. Torian Prince is out here as well. I am the number one Kyle Kuzma hater. If he's in, I think he looks okay. But again, not something I'm really rushing to. If he's out, though, maybe AJ Green could look okay. I mean, he's also questionable. Again, low total here. Everyone priced where they should be. I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. probably the most appealing option, obviously, given his ceiling. But other than that, man, it's tough. I will say Bobby Portis has been a little bit better lately in the absence of Giannis. Had a bad game against Brooklyn. Prior to that, he went off against Boston. He's fine, but I don't know. Like, we're talking about a team that's priced where they should be, that's mostly healthy. Unless some news breaks, it's really weird. I just don't really see the need to get to too much Milwaukee. Field's not getting there either. Any interest from you?
Yeah, so if Kuzma and or Green play, it's probably going to be a stay away. I will say if both those guys sit, maybe I could take a stab on like a guy like Gary Trent down low.
Mm.
Maybe he gets a couple more shots, but other than that, like I think KPJ is fine, but I'd lean more Gary Trent as like a flyer.
Yeah, and again, we've mentioned this archetype a lot. There's guys that are going to get minutes tonight that are scoring dependent. Clarkson, Larson, throw Trent in that group. I think he's another one. Let's go ahead and get into the, I believe, last game here at 8 o'clock. We have the Wizards taking on the Spurs. Spurs heavy favorites coming off their NBA Cup loss, but on the Wizards side of things, Malachi Branham is out. No Corey Kispert or Chris Middleton. The one guy I'm most interested in here is probably Bub Carrington. They are getting Alexandre Sarr back tonight, obviously a talented player. Not the best matchup for him, but yeah, I'm kind of interested in Bub. I mean, we have enough other value opening up now that I don't know that he's necessary, but on FanDuel, especially at just 4,700, he's the type of guy you could play if the game's close or if it gets out of hand. One of those hybrid type players that I really like that are kind of immune to the game script. High total here too at 240.5 points. You can mix in George, Koulibaly, McCollum. None of them are going to be priorities for me. Champagne no longer really going to be a thing now with Sar back. Bagley also moving to the bench. Sar himself obviously has upside. I just don't know where to project his minutes. We have him at 26, which isn't enough for me to get there on such a big slate. But again, maybe a little Bub Carrington. Other than that, not much love for me for Washington. How about you?
Yeah, man, really like that Bub shot. I think he's great play, like you mentioned, can play through blowout. Pretty young guy there, so yeah, like Bub. And then if we're kind of playing this blowout narrative, I think even a guy like Trey Johnson, super cheap, potentially could get more minutes off the bench. So, how do you feel about him as like a super dart there? I might be like chasing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the player, man. It's just what are the minutes going to look like, and we're comparing him to guys like I don't know, Kolek and Bub in this game. I mean, we'll talk about Anthony Black in a minute. There's other value guards, but again, if you're desperate and you're not playing Bub, I wouldn't want them in the same lineup.
Yeah,
I do think it's fine. Like he's dirt cheap. Obviously, he has some upside, but I just don't know that the minutes are going to be there.
yeah, I agree. It seems kind of risky. I was just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, no, you know I'm a fan of the player. Over on the Spurs, we got no Harrison Ingram, a couple other G Leaguers on the injury report. So this team is another one of these teams that is healthy. On a slate with so many injuries, usually that means we can kind of get away. The one guy who's jumping out, though, is Dylan Harper. Maybe similar to Bub. He's a young player, regardless of how this game plays out. Probably gets the same minutes regardless, probably between 24 and 28. At his price, coming off a really good game against the Knicks, I don't mind getting to a little bit of Harper. I do think he's overowned, if we're being completely honest. But other than that, just a tough team to get to. I've been heavy on Castle. But as Wemby's minutes come up, we're going to see Castle's usage come down a little bit. So maybe some Harper. Wemby's kind of overpriced until that minutes limit's gone. Castle's fine, but again, just a weird matchup here. Team's pretty healthy. Nothing I'm really prioritizing. How about you?
Yeah, just to touch on Harper, I think he's solid. I'm kind of with you. I don't think he's like a must for me, but I do like the matchup and price point here. And like you mentioned, he should be pretty good either way, depending on how this game goes. Then after Harper, it's not much I love here. Yeah, you mentioned Castle, Wemby. They're in a great spot. 129 team total for them tonight. But yeah, it's just tough to see them getting their full run in this game. So it's mainly just Harper for me.
Yep, right there with you, man. Yeah, kind of crazy to see him 30% owned, but I do like him. I just hope that number comes down a little bit. Maybe it will with some of the Knicks news and other spots. But 8:30 window here now, Eastern Standard Time. We have a pretty interesting game between the Pistons and the Dallas Mavericks. Pistons are favored on the road here, not by too much, 228.5 point total. Starting with Detroit, nothing significant, just a bunch of G Leaguers on the injury report today. So once again, when we have a slate full of teams with injuries and value, the healthy teams are a little bit tougher to get to. Obviously, Kate Cunningham has upside. I do think Tobias is a little bit too cheap for what he's capable of. But yeah, I mean, on a smaller slate, I'd have more interest. Don't mind Cade in tournaments. Again, I think he's low owned. Obviously, trying to get to Luca heavily tonight. That's the main reason for that. But the field's right there with that as well. So maybe you could find that as a tournament pivot. Other than that, not much for me here from Detroit. How about you?
Yeah, this is a super interesting team tonight, Nick. I think because I think Tobias is a little bit underpriced on both sides, and then I don't hate. I wanted to hear your take. Jaden Ivey is super cheap. He's getting no ownership. He's another guy that's like probably going to be under owned. Did you have any interest there? And then I was just going to touch on Cade. I think he's fine. I would prefer obviously Luca and Jalen Brunson, but Cade has a really high ceiling in this spot, so don't hate getting there at all.
Yeah, I don't think Ivy's crazy. We have him for 19 minutes. It's funny. The last stream I was on with Detroit, someone brought him up, and they said, "How does he get more minutes?" And I said, "If he gets hot, maybe he can run into more." He did get hot. He had a great game, but he was still capped at 20. So it was like a last piece in. I think he's useful if you're trying to go really stars and scrubs, like fit Jokic and Luka or something. Or Sangoon, I don't know. But other than that, I do think the range of outcomes leans towards the low end, just because the minutes aren't necessarily going to be there. He is scoring dependent. He's been shooting lights out, but a bad shooting game for him could be devastating. So I don't mind him in tournaments, but very, very much boomer bust. This team is as healthy as they've been all season.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Brandon Clark last night. Like he was going to play limited minutes, but he has to, be productive. So that's kind of how I see it
Well,
too.
the difference was we had no Edie. We knew that, and then Clark got the start. I mean, if,
Yeah.
if we see Ivy starting all of a sudden over Duncan Robinson, I would get to a lot of Ivy. I think that would mean his minutes are going to come up. But yeah, once Clark started last night, that definitely got me to him a little bit heavier than I would have been.
Yeah, I got you.
But similar price for sure. Over on the Dallas side of things, Cooper Flag coming off the best game of his career. I'm a fan. Don't mind him in tournaments, but the injury report has AD questionable. Definitely need to keep an eye on that. Najee Marshall, Brandon Williams, and D'Lo all questionable here as well. The Williams injury is an Achilles. I would be shocked if he played, honestly. At the same time, it's weird that they just haven't ruled him out. So keep an eye on that. If we have D'Lo and Williams out, Nemhard is excellent value at the guard position. He's been playing really good basketball, even here in a tough matchup. I want to get to a lot of Ryan Nemhard. 0% owned right now. To me, that's absolutely insane. Even if one of D'Lo or Williams are in, still want to get to Nemhard. He's going to be the starter here, really talented young player. AD, if he's in, it's yes on DK, probably no on FanDuel just because of the price. 9,100 for him, only power forward, but that's just wrong. I would definitely like to get to some AD, and then you can mix in Flag, Washington, Marshall, but really no other priorities. I definitely need to keep an eye, and we all need to keep an eye on this guard situation, though. Again, if we have no Williams or Russell, Nemhard's going to look excellent. He already looks pretty good, but we're going to get more than the 25 minutes we have him projected for if that's the case. So keep an eye on that. And then if AD's out, it would mostly benefit Flag and Washington. Those two would see a little bit of a boost. So definitely keep an eye on that there as well. But other than that, not much for me from Dallas. Just a tough matchup against a really good Detroit defense. How do you feel about the Mavs here at home?
Yeah, Nick, Ryan Nimhard, love, love, love tonight. Even the sports books won't let me bet him because I think they know something. So I think he looks great both sides here, especially if Brandon Williams and or D'Lo miss here. He looks even better. So I love him at his current ownership. Can only be better from here. And then I did want to bump PJ Washington as well if AD misses sub 7K both sides. He's been getting there the last few slates. So I like him if AD sits. And then AD as well. Great price point on DK. I think he's firmly in play as a spend up, like you mentioned.
Yep, yep. So yeah, we got to keep an eye on the news in that one. Dallas definitely one of the fluid situations we have on the slate. Moving along here, we got another game in this. Or no, that's it for 8:30. We got the Golden State Warriors taking on Phoenix in Phoenix at 9 p.m. Just pulling up the lineups in this one. Just a second. Um, it's funny. The Warriors don't play till 9. They already have their starting lineup out. Curry, Moody, Butler, Green Post. Um, Seth Curry was maybe going to play today. He's questionable. Horford still dealing with sciatica. Pat Spencer's going to be out. I don't know, man. Another team kind of priced where they should be. Obviously, Steph always has upside at low ownership. This is a good matchup. I don't mind mixing him in at the same time. Nothing I could really call a priority. I will say Quentin Post is kind of interesting as a pivot off of some of the other center value. No one is getting there. 0% owned. I think he's kind of interesting. It is a pretty good matchup for him. Other than that, not much. I mean, Jimmy does feel cheap at AK over on FanDuel, but there's a lot of good plays in that range tonight. Again, Steph in tournaments is fine. My tournament play here I like, though, is Quentin Post. He's going to be starting at center for the foreseeable future. Has been a really good player in terms of point per minute production. Like Post a lot. Other than that, not much from me from Golden State. How about you?
Yeah, I hadn't looked into Post, but yeah, with him confirmed starting for the near future, and he is a good producer, so I'm fine with that in tournaments. But I think in terms of Steph and Butler, both are fine. I didn't really have a leaner hunch on either one. You can mix them both in. Obviously, Steph has had a couple of good games recently, but yeah, I'm kind of just neutral to both of them.
Yep, right there with you, man. Let's see. Over on the Phoenix side of things, Grayson Allen is questionable. Jordan Goodwin is available. Booker's not on the injury report. Jalen Green is going to be out. Isaiah Liver's questionable as well. Not that that matters. Booker's getting completely overlooked tonight. At the same time, I don't know that I need to get to him. Dylan Brooks obviously is going to take 100 shots unless he's in a fist fight with Draymond Green. You can maybe mix those two in. Mark Williams is cheap enough. You can consider him at the same time. I don't really love the matchup. Just don't have much love for the Suns here. I will say if Allen's out, you can maybe get to a little bit more Brooks. But other than that, just probably a no for me, honestly. How you feel about the Suns in this spot?
Yeah, very difficult team to target here. The one spot that I kind of was looking at was Mark Williams here, just because Golden State hasn't had the best rim presence for most of the year. So Mark Williams, I think, is fine in tournaments at center, but that's about it. That's all I was looking at.
Yep, I hear that. All right, a couple more games here at 9 o'clock. We got a big one between the Lakers and the Jazz. Lakers are favored on the road, 242.5 point total. DeAndre Ayton is out. Austin Reeves is out. Gabe Vincent is out. And most importantly, Bronny James is out. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, with no Reeves, that's going to increase the usage for both Luca and LeBron. Obviously, more so Luca in Big 2025. He is one of the most popular payups on the slate. I think he should be. He looks absolutely tremendous here. I am getting him in most of my lineups. Not only are we getting the increased usage with Reeves out, it's about as good of a matchup as we're going to see here. Maybe it's competitive too with it being on the road. So I love Luca. Going to have absolutely all the Luca tonight. You could get to some LeBron. I think he's fine at his price. Would prefer him in lineups without Luca. And again, I'm so heavy on Luca, not really getting there. The talking point though is going to be Jackson Hayes. Probably starts at center. As long as he's starting at center, I do think he's a good value play. He rates as the best value play on DK. Just confirming, I believe the best value play over on FanDuel as well. We have him for 28 minutes. That feels a bit aggressive, but at the same time, dirt cheap, starting center. They don't have much depth at center right now. I think he looks really, really good. So, yes, getting to Hayes. Obviously, Luca looks tremendous. Those are the two I'm really keying in on. Rui feels a bit cheap over on FanDuel. Marcus Smart, if you're desperate for a last piece in. Other than that, though, all the Luca, lots of Hayes, lots of Lakers love tonight for me. How about you, Jayhawk?
Yeah, I think obviously the Lakers look fantastic here. Obviously, Luka up top, if not the best man, I think he's the best man tonight. He looks great both sides. Jackson Hayes, phenomenal value play. Jamming him in most of my lineups. So those two look fantastic. And then in terms of LeBron and the rest of the team here, I think LeBron's fine himself. I'm not like super high on him because we've seen LeBron without Reeves. He hasn't, or I think we have, but he hasn't been like amazing so far. So I think he's fine. I'm not like super high on him. And then I do like the Rui shout. 4,100 is a great price on FanDuel, so I really like that shout.
Yeah, Rui hasn't been shooting well if you look at the game logs, but the minutes are there, and that's what matters the most. Luca too. I mean, coming off a couple shaky games, I'm hoping that drives the ownership down. But those are with Reeves in. The usage is still crazy for him though, so I wouldn't look too deeply into that. Playing all the Luca here. Over on the Utah side of things, no Laurie Markkinen. That's going to be majorly impactful. No Walker Kessler either. Other than that, just a bunch of G Leaguers. But with Laurie out, a guy who does demand a lot of usage, obviously takes up a lot of minutes there. We're probably going to see some good value here. The second highest rated value play on this slate comes on the other side in Bryce Sensabaugh. This is under the assumption that he's starting. We have him for 24 minutes. If he does play 24 minutes, I think he's going to exceed 24 fantasy points, about a fantasy point per minute producer. So he looks great. If he's coming off the bench, proceed with some caution. But I think, again, as long as he starts and we expect him to, one of the better value plays tonight. Ace Bailey, scoring dependent. You can mix him in. Keontae George, I think, is really solid if you can get to him. And then Filipowski, even with Nurkic back, I do prefer Filipowski over Nurk. He's been really solid off the bench, even when this team is healthy. Good matchup for him here as well. But the key here is obviously Sensabaugh. I mean, as long as he's starting, one of the better value plays on the board. But George, Filipowski, Bailey, I think you can mix all these guys in. And then one more shout, Collier off the bench. Probably runs into a few extra minutes. He's played 23 plus in 3 of his last 4, including 31 that last game out against Dallas, where he actually had a really, really solid game, albeit with a few stocks. 8 assists, though, for him, which was good. Probably running that second unit now. Lots of value to like here in Utah if you're trying to fit Luca in. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Jazz?
Yeah, man, Jazz look awesome here. I think just this game in general looks amazing. Bryce Sensabaugh, fantastic. I think value play, top DK value here, and I hope he does start. Like I'm with you. I think he looks great. I really hope he's starting. And then Ace Bailey's fine. I would prefer Sensabaugh, but you can mix him in like you mentioned. And then Filipowski, even with all this other news we have, I think he still looks pretty solid here. And then I do really like that Collier shout. He should facilitate the second unit. And now that I look at him, I think I'd probably prefer Collier to like Ivy down low.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And again, Svi had been starting, but I think they're moving him to the bench. So we're probably going to see Sensabaugh and Filipowski starting. So just keep an eye on that. It seems like they're starting to try to get the younger guys some minutes. Svi not really a part of their future plans. Another game here at 9 o'clock. This is the last game on the DK slate. We do have one more after this on FanDuel. Guys, get your questions in. Happy to answer them. We're making pretty good time. We got time for the dummy builds. We got Smitty in the Discord today, so Jayhawk is not on double duty, which gives us an extra minute or two. But Orlando, lots of news here. No Suggs, no Franz, no Mo Wagner. Orlando Robinson's still out. Jonathan Isaac and Tristan Silver are both questionable. I tend to think they play, but either way, I mean, no Suggs or Franz. Anthony Black looks really solid here. Denver, obviously a tough matchup, but Orlando, really solid team. I think they can keep this game close. Black has shooting guard eligibility as well as point guard eligibility on both sides. My favorite play here from Orlando. Desmond Bane's fine to get to as well. He is pretty pricey. There's no longer a minutes cap on Paulo, so feel free to mix him in. And while the model does really like Wendell Carter today, I'd be proceeding with some caution just because of the matchup against Jokic. But again, 3 straight games for him over 30 minutes. It's been a while since we saw that, so I don't mind him. One really kind of deep play here. We saw Jace Richardson get some extra run when Suggs got hurt. He actually closed for Orlando in that game against the Knicks. Again, too big of a slate to get there unless you're playing Showdown or maybe the late slate. But I love Black tonight. Anthony Black is a core play for me. Probably mixing some Bane, maybe some Carter, but Anthony Black for me, man. How you feeling about Orlando?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Anthony Black, one of the best mid-tier plays on this slate. Just the guards have been very good against Denver, and obviously Black fits that molds. And then I do like Bane a little bit more than the field is here. Just think the spot is pretty good for him. I do prefer him to Paulo. So I like Bane, and then outside of that, I don't love the forwards and bigs in the spot against Denver.
Yep, I'm with you, man. On the Denver side of things, still no Aaron Gordon, still no Christian Brown. Tim Hardaway Jr., who's been playing outstanding, is questionable. Peyton Watson left his last game with an injury. He is questionable here as well. So a little bit to keep an eye on. I think if all those guys I mentioned are out, Cam Johnson is probably going to take a few extra shots. He looks decent. Jokic, I don't mind. He's obviously crazy expensive here. But really low owned, and we know what he's capable of. If you're not playing Luca, maybe get to some Joker if you don't want to play all that center value. Again, low ownership for him, massive upside. He makes plenty of sense. The Jamal Murray, another expensive but solid guard play. He's been shooting really well. Seems like he's finally 100% healthy. And then one more name I'll mention, just again, if Tim Hardaway is out, if Peyton Watson is out, is Bruce Brown. I think he could see more minutes off the bench. Not someone I'm really rushing to get to, but maybe you're waiting for that late game. You have Sensabaugh in a lot of lineups, and you get that Hardaway news. Brown would be probably a good pivot if you have the few extra hundred left over. So he could be useful as the night wears on. Right now, not someone I'm really building in. But yeah, Denver's fine here, man. It's just kind of need that news. Jokic is under owned. Murray looks pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about the Nuggets?
Yeah, I think starting with Jokic, I think he looks great if you can get up to him. I was getting a lot of Jokic in my non-Luca lineups, so I think Jokic makes sense there. Great matchup, I think, for him. And then I think Jamal as well. Pretty good spot, pretty decent total. So fine with either one of those guys. Then after Jokic and Murray, not much I love here. Bruce Brown has seen a couple more minutes here the past few games, but it's very tough to trust these other guys on such a huge slate.
Yeah, again, if Hardaway and Watson are out, Brown's going to look really good. I think it's more likely Watson sits and Hardaway plays, but keep an eye on that for sure, guys. One last game here. This is FanDuel only. We got the Kings taking on the Blazers. Blazers, decent side favorites at home. Total pushing 240, though, so pretty good game environment. Starting on the Kings side, this team is a mess. Sabonis is out. Levine is out. Schroeder is questionable. A bunch of G Leaguers, guys like Devin Carter are listed questionable here as well. I don't know. Russ, you could play him here. I don't know that I'm going to at 8K plus. DeMar DeRozan, though, I do think is underpriced here with all these other guys out on FanDuel. 6,600 for him. Probably going to see 25-ish% usage. Nice little boost for him. I don't mind him. I do think pushing 30% owned, not necessarily something you need, but on paper does look like a really solid play. Raynaud getting the start at center, but I actually prefer Precious for value off the bench. Has forward eligibility, so you can play those other value centers and still get to some Precious. Again, this team's thin right now. Not a great matchup, though. You can make a case for Murray. You can make a case for Monk. His minutes are inconsistent. I don't know, man. Tough for me to want to get to many Kings here against Portland, but they're missing a lot of guys, so it does make some sense. How do you feel about Sacramento?
Yeah, I'm with you. I do also prefer Precious down low here. And then in terms of DeRozan versus Westbrook, I think I still lean DeRozan. He's also way chalkier, so we have to address that. But yeah, I think Raynaud's fine, but I'm with you. I do prefer Precious. Oh, I did want to ask you, Nick Clifford. We have wanted to address him. I know he sucked for us the last time we played him. Did you have any interest going back there?
Oh, what was that? A 2 game slate we were getting Nick Clifford? 12 game? No, man,
Okay.
no. I know he's your boy. 12 game slate, I just can't do it.
I mean, he spells his
It's not
name.
insane, but
He spells his name the wrong
dude,
way.
6% usage against the Timberwolves. 6% against the
Yeah.
Timberwolves. That's just not okay. But yeah, talented kid. Hopefully he figures it out soon. Overall, the Blazers side of things, no Drew, no Scoot, no Dame, so they're pretty thin in the backcourt still. No Blake Wesley or Matisse Thybulle. Denny, obviously an option here. Good matchup for all of these guys, but he's shown a very high ceiling. You can mix in Grant, you can mix in Kamara, Sharp, Klingon. I think all of the starters are somewhat appealing. I kind of said Sissoko would be a guy I'd never really get to, and then he had maybe the best game of his life against the Pels. Last time out, not so great against the Warriors. Just had to hold the L on that one. But really not much here for me, man. I do think Sharp is fine. The price is up on him, though. Denny obviously looks good, but he's more popular than I expected. Yeah, I don't mind the starters, but not really a spot I'd be prioritizing necessarily. How do you feel about Portland?
Yeah, I think all the Portland starters are in play. I'm with you. I do prefer Sharp out of the bunch here, and I just Donovan Clingan I think is fine as well. 6K flat. Sacramento's been very bad against centers, so I actually kind of like him in tournaments a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, they do have Williams healthy, but we're probably going to see 30 minutes. No, 25 minutes we have for Klingon. That feels a little low. So he could maybe spike some upside. I don't mind that call at all. But to your point, Sharp definitely the easiest to get to, especially on FanDuel where that game is actually part of the main slate, point per dollar. We had a comment here from Power that's very interesting. He said, have you heard anything about Brunson's minutes? There's a note for him on Basketball Monster, but it doesn't say anything. I don't know. Maybe check and see if DK has a note. I don't think he's going to be limited at all here. Um, Let me see. We have him as the third highest minutes on the slate at 37. I've seen no coach speak that he's not going to play. Obviously, they're benching other guys coming off that game. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's out there. I don't see a reason to expect he's limited. But any thoughts on that, Jayhawk?
I think he should be good to go. I feel like they would have just rested him if they didn't want him to play today.
Yeah, that's kind of my take there too. But let's see. Just checking the news quickly. LaMelo is in. Wemby's still on a minutes limit. Trae Young obviously on a minutes limit. Let's get to these dummy builds. We're right at 6:30, so we got to go quick. But throw some names in. We got Luca. We got Jackson Hayes. I'll throw them in first.
Yeah, definitely those two. I love Jalen Brunson tonight, so I'm kind of biased, but can we throw him in there as well?
Yeah, yeah. We can get Brunson. I think Sensabaugh, assuming he starts, is a good play.
Yep.
I'll throw him in. Anthony Black is another one I liked at his price. Again, no Suggs. Obviously helps him in a big way.
Love that.
Where is he? It's moving pretty slow. All right. We got 5,400 left for a few forwards here.
Do you like Filipowski at power forward?
Yeah, I do. I'm fine with that. I mean, we could take one of these scoring dependent guys like a Larson or a Clarkson. Clarkson does have forward eligibility. I'll go ahead and plug him in. I think at his price, if he starts, he's good. You could also go to Pele. Or not Pele, what am I saying? Pele's out, so it's Fontecchio. So there's your pivot there. Then we just have 6K for a forward, but this is a pretty good lineup, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty chalky, but it's a solid lineup. I like it a lot.
Yeah, kind of chalky, but I mean, all this range is kind of low on. I mean, you could go with Hoff or Hawkes, move some things around, but you guys see where we're at. Pretty good build here. Over on FanDuel, still playing Hayes at center, one center spot. I think so. I still think he's the best value.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if you're playing a ton of tournament lineups, he's not like a lock, but I just think he's a really strong play. We'll get Luca in again over here. What's Anthony Black's price? Yeah, a little bit more pricey. I don't think we need to force it.
Should we get someone from the Sacramento Portland game? I know there was a couple pretty solid plays.
Yeah, let's go with Sharp. We said
Okay.
he was pretty easy to get to. I like that. I was looking at the Knicks real quick. I think was it OG?
Yeah, OG's great.
Yeah, let's go with OG. I mean, I liked him over on DK as well, even though we didn't get to him. Quick look at value here. We got Sensabaugh again. Fontecchio. I'll throw Fontecchio and Sensabaugh in just for the sake of time. Again, scoring dependent, but we're going to see Fontecchio starting. Same with Sensabaugh. If he doesn't start, maybe look for a pivot. Again, if those Denver guys are out, Bruce Brown could look excellent. What else we got going? Kind of fit what we want from here on out.
Yeah, FanDuel's a little bit more open because I think salary is pretty easy over there.
Yeah, maybe we go Keontae George with Loriot as the run back. I kind of like that.
I like that.
Even with the price bump, I think he looks good. Let's see what else. Wiggins. We didn't use Powell on either side. I mean, he would have been a good one. We got Wiggins here, and then 6,900. I don't know, Jeremy Grant in the late game. If you want a late sweat, this isn't bad. I mean, we could probably do a little bit better, but guys, we made pretty good time, I think, for 12 games. Definitely appreciate you. If you are behind the paywall, Smitty definitely live in the Discord now, taking you up until lock as these lineups come in. Again, keep an eye on lineups. I mean, we could see some interesting things in New York, Miami, Dallas has a lot of news that's still open. Denver has a lot of news that's still open. But yeah, any other? Oh, we got a word from Smokes here saying, coach for the Knicks said he would monitor starters' minutes. So I'm going to do some digging and look for that. If that is the case, I mean, Brunson still looks good. He's going to see crazy usage, but Maybe we have to shed a couple minutes off of his projection. But appreciate you guys keeping us honest on that. Obviously, so much to cover today. And yeah, Smokes, you got it. Whatever that means. These coaches like to lie through their teeth. So proceed with some caution there. Gone is Tibbs. I miss him just because of DFS. Know that he would play all his guys 38 to 40 minutes a night. But any last thoughts, Jayhawk, before we get out of here? Pretty fun slate tonight. Lots of ways to go.
No, enjoy the slate. We got a very big one, and let's go win some money tonight.
Hell yeah. Have fun, guys. Like the video, subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Good luck.
Good luck, guys.